I'm always looking for interesting and functional solutions when it comes to backpacks for a one-bag life. That's why this video is all about the Nayo Smart Urban U5 backpack and a sample loadout of it. And at the end of the video, I will give you my single best tip on the most overlooked feature for an EDC backpack for any kind of lifestyle, even if you're not pursuing a one-bag life, so don't miss out. If you're new here, I'm Sven, just an extreme minimalist one-bag lifer with less than 100 possessions and the desire to live his whole life out of just one carry-on size backpack. So if you end up liking the video, don't forget to subscribe and like, but most important, share a comment with your thoughts at the end of the video, check the weekly One Bag Life community post, and join me on my journey towards a true one bag life. But I would say, let's get started. Are you sometimes looking for a very unique bag that is also very functional when you want to get a new one? I definitely do. And honestly, in today's day and age, or today, most of the bags that you will find online will look first very similar with very similar features. So it will take some time, or it can be very hard to find these very unique but still very functional bags. That's why I was very happy when Nayo Smart reached out to me and asked me if I can review one of their backpacks, because I honestly think they provide a very interesting look and design, but still have very functional bags. So let's get into it. But before we start, a little disclaimer. This week's video should be about the advantages of living a low-tech life for a one-bag life, but when Nayo Smart reached out to me and asked if I want to review one of their backpacks, I actually found them so interesting that I thought I'd just do it and make a quick review, especially while I'm traveling right now, so this would be the perfect time to test out a new bag, so that's why this video is a little bit different than expected. And also, yes, Nayo Smart did send me this backpack for review purposes, and the first link in the description that you will find will be an affiliate link where I get a little bit of commission when you buy this backpack through this link. But no, Nayo Smart did not have anything to do with the writing or scripting of this video. They are not sponsoring this video, so everything that I will say during this time and in this video will be my personal opinion, and Nayo Smart will not see this video until it's uploaded. So everything is not sponsored, even though they sent me this product, everything will be my own opinion. However, if you end up liking this backpack, the Urban U5 backpack from Nayo Smart, definitely check out the link in the description or get the code Sven10 to get 10% off your purchase of the Urban U5 backpack. So if you end up liking the video and if you end up liking the bag, just check out Nayo Smart to find out more about them and their products. And if you decide that this bag is interesting for you and you will get it, definitely think about ordering this through my affiliate link or using the code Sven10. But let's get into the review and sample loadout of the Urban U5 backpack by Nayo Smart, and I just wanted to start at the outside of the bag. And before I talk about every single feature of this bag, I will put up some numbers and features of this bag around here that will be easier for you to read if I put it up on the screen, unless I tell it to you. But I wanted to start actually with the fabric of this bag. So they call it, I think, a DuPont nylon or water-resistant nylon. And you know these bags that claim to be water-resistant, that feel very cheap or very, I don't know, have these like plastic feeling. And I honestly can tell you that all around this bag, you can see it on the back side of the bag, you can see it on the front side, it feels very like a high premium nylon material, which you can actually feel how resistant it is. So this is maybe the first thing that I already noticed while unpacking this bag, which I really do like. And as you can see, the bag has a lot of features on the front, but I actually wanted to start at the back, because when we talk about bags, one of the most important things that I always mention is actually the harness or the shoulder straps of the bag. And at this point, they actually feel very good and they actually feel very sturdy, especially when it comes to the top of the bag. But they are quite thin, to be honest. But when you're actually carrying the bag, and I will show you later if it's when I have the sample loadout, they actually feel quite comfortable. They have very nice, I don't know actually how these called to adjust the straps, but they feel extremely premium. I don't know if it's metal or so, but it can be some kind of aluminum. So the materials that they use to create this bag or to make this bag do feel very, very premium, so that's for sure. So you have just two, I would say, standard sized bag straps. You have this luggage pass-through, which I think, especially for an EDC bag, is a very, very good option, because if you want to pair it with a suitcase, it is very handy, and also it feels very well made, I would say, especially on the sides. And the last thing that you can see on the bag is the carry handle at the top, which I think they have a very, very good solution for that, because it's not like these very thin carry straps, if you know them, like they're just like some pieces of fabric, but they wrapped a little bit of leather around them, which is actually vegan leather. So everything leather here on this bag is vegan. They wrapped it around the carry handle, which makes it feel a lot more better. So it feels a little bit more padded, even though I think it isn't padded. It is not padded, but I think this gives it a very, very nice feel. When we go to the sides of the exterior, there is actually a little, I wouldn't technically call it hidden pocket, but actually there is a side pocket that it's actually very deep. So if you can see my hand, it fits all of my hand inside here. So you can put, I don't know, snacks inside there. You can put your passport in there while you're traveling. Just make sure that you know that it's not really padded on the back side. So if you put some electronics in there, I would be cautious. So maybe some smaller things, some documents that you need, or some things you want to have quick access to are accessible through this side pocket. So on each side, you also will find a water bottle holder pocket that it's a little bit flexible. You can see maybe on this side that there is like a little elastic strap, so you can fit some bottles inside. I only have one bottle, so I can show it to you actually right now. But this fits more or less good inside here. But if you have these kind of bottles, it will eat up a little bit of space of the main compartment, so beware, or make sure that you actually know that. The same goes for the other side, so you have two water bottle pockets here. And if we go to the front, and that is maybe the most interesting thing about this bag, and the reason why I chose this bag and actually Nayo Smart in general, is the layout of their pouches, I would say. So when you have the bag in its closed up form, you have two zippered pockets or pouches at the front. They're actually not very deep, so if I take my hand again, you can see it's not very deep, but it goes through the full length of the pocket. You can see it goes down here and up here. And I think it's actually a very nice feature to have, because here you can store, I don't know, if you go for a longer time, you can store some candy bars or some snack bars in here. You can store actually, I would say, your phone inside here, but I'm filming on my phone, so I can try it right now. But these two pockets are actually very handy for small items that you want to carry, maybe your sunglasses or maybe a pair of headphones. So wireless headphones will fit easily inside there. So this is very nice. And now we can actually come to one of the main parts, I would say, of this backpack, and that actually is the top of the bag when we go from the outside. So you can see here the buckles are Duraflex buckles actually, and they feel very, very premium. So it's more or less the same material that you will find back here. As I mentioned before, it feels like metal, but I guess it's more like aluminum. And these will have the closure to the top. And you can see it folds up to the back, and there is like no additional pocket right here. But it actually feels very good, because it feels like it's a little bit more cushioned. I don't know why, to be honest, but it feels very good. And then you have the access to the interior. But about the interior, we will speak in a second. So now that we talked about every exterior feature of this backpack, let's just jump straight into the interior compartments and everything you will find when you open up this bag. And before we go into the main compartment, which is secured, as I already mentioned, by these very, very good Duraflex buckles, let's go to the back side, because in this case, this backpack has a separate laptop compartment on the back, so we have easier access to it. And one thing to mention is that this zipper, I guess, is not waterproof. Even though they use the nylon material on the outside of the bag, this zipper and also the zippers, I guess, on the front side, so these two are actually not a waterproof zipper. So just make sure that you know that. And when you zip up the laptop compartment or the tech compartment, I guess it's so nice to see that you have a lot of options what to do here. So first of all, you have like a little protection on the back, so on the bottom. to be honest. You can see there is no like false bottom for the whole tech compartment, but when you go inside here and you grab inside here, you can see that there is like a little bit of a false bottom for your laptop. So you have actually two sleeves on the inside. So one big sleeve for a up to 16-inch laptop and one smaller sleeve for a tablet, which both goes almost all the way to the bottom. But the second smaller sleeve is a little bit more protected because it doesn't go to the end of the bag. And it's hard to show you that actually when I have it in hand. But when you go down here, you can see that these are the two sleeves and you have two extra pockets down here to store some smaller items. I don't know, maybe a charger or something else. But if you can see it, there is like a very big opening to the tech compartment. And I would guess that if you load this up fully with a laptop, with a tablet and everything, there will be no space anymore if you close up the bag itself. So it is a very flat compartment, as you can see here. But technically, I can say, you can put some documents as well before the things you have, because this part, so not the parts up here, goes all the way to the bottom of the bag, which is also very good and handy if you want to store some documents. But in the end, it's a very, I would say, standard tech compartment. I wish they had built like more false bottom because they claim to be it's an EDC bag, and most people will use the EDC bag with a laptop or a tablet. So more protection down here would be way better in my opinion. So this is one thing in the interior pocket that I would say could be better about this bag. But let's actually switch to the front and talk about the main compartment, which I think is the most interesting and most unique feature about this bag. So as I already mentioned, you just open these buckles, you fold this lid to the back. There's nothing special about this lid, there's nothing to do and nothing to have. And then you can see you have actually this big opening. And maybe you know these openings from these roll top bags that you can find, but actually you can just pull on these zips and make this opening, I'm sorry, close it a little bit up. But as you can see, as I'm fumbling around here, the only downside I would say is that this main zipper, which will open up the main compartment until this point here down the back, will open when you just pull on these, I would say, ropes here to secure the opening of the bag. So this is maybe not the most convenient thing to do, but you have still the option. But talking about the zipper at the front side, this is actually a waterproof zipper. So, I mean, I don't know if you can see the material right here, but it's so different to what you can see here. So this is like just normal fabric, and you can see this is like a proper waterproof zipper for the main compartment, which I think is very handy if you waterproof the whole bag. But let's just go right into it. So as you can see, if you unzip the bag, you get like a very huge opening. So, I mean, it's an 18 liters bag. But when I open this bag up, I would say it looks like more like a 20-liter bag. So it's like a huge main compartment. And when we go about the features of this main compartment, we can start on the side actually right here, where you can see there are like two smaller pockets on both sides or on each side that can store up a lot of like smaller items, which I think is very handy because sometimes you want to have smaller or more valuable items like maybe your earphones not sticking around on the outside of the bag but actually on the inside, and having a possibility or an option to store them inside a not secret but separate zippered compartment is very, very nice, and having two of them makes it even better. And one other thing you can maybe see on the inside right here is there's another sleeve which goes all the way to the bottom again. As I said, no false bottom in this case. But this is like maybe if you want to have more protection for your laptop or your tablet, you can put it inside and not outside of the bag where I showed you the tech compartment before. So it is handy. I don't actually know why they split it up this way, but in the end it helps you maybe a little bit with your organization or a little bit with your security of your items. So the main compartment is as simple as it is. Two pouches or two zippered pouches and this sleeve at the back. Otherwise there's nothing in here. But one feature I wanted to point out, which I think is actually very, very handy, is this part at the front. So if you zip up the bag, or when you zip up the bag to the top, you can see it looks very, very clean because it looks very put together. But to have the option to open up the bag through the zipper and then have this little bit of fabric right here to open up the space even more, makes it so much easier to grab things inside. So that is a very, very handy feature, in my opinion. But that's actually almost everything I can tell you about this bag. As I said, I will put some things that are important about this bag, like the dimensions and everything else, up on the screen so you can see it. But that's probably it for the review. And honestly, I think this bag in general is a very, very good EDC bag, because you have a lot of storage options for very small things that you will most likely carry when you have an EDC bag. It is waterproof on almost all sides. As I said, some zippers don't seem to be waterproof, like the one on the front side. This is a little bit, I don't know, they could, I think, improve on that, especially when it comes to your tech compartment. If it's separate and doesn't have a waterproof zipper like it has on the front, I would definitely change that into a waterproof zipper. And one very, very, very small gripe I have about this bag are actually these buckles. I think they are very, very good. They feel very, very high quality and very, very good material. But the only downside is when you have this thing to tighten up, if you want to tighten up this bag, it has like these fixture where you can put it through so it won't dangle around. But if you fully, as I did it right now, like squeeze this thing to the end, there is like everything dangling around, because this placeholder, or I don't know how you call it, goes only until this point here, which is fixed to the bag. So the rest will just dangle around, which in my opinion, I don't know why they did it, but I think it's not necessary. They can just put like this fabric through and don't attach it to the bag so it won't dangle around. This is a very, very small gripe, but in the end, as I said, it's a very good bag for a lot of situations. You have a lot of space. It looks bigger than it is. And in the end, it comes down to you if you need such a bag, but I can highly, highly recommend this one if you're just looking for a small portable EDC bag with a lot of features that looks very unique but is still very functional. Let's start with this sample loadout, and just to make sure, I'm right now, as I said, on vacation in Austria. I'm skiing here, so that's why I can only do it on my bed. So just be aware of that it maybe doesn't look perfect, but it should be fine. So just for size comparison reasons, so this is the Nayo Smart 18-liter backpack Urban U5, and this is my Patagonia 25-liter backpack that I am carrying right now as my onebag life backpack. So just for the sake of this review, I just wanted to show you, this is the 25-liter backpack I am carrying right now. And the size of the 18-liter backpack is so much smaller than my backpack. But as I said, it was just the sake of this comparison. So for the sample loadout, I will first of all just use these things that I am carrying right now in my 25-liter backpack, and I won't unpack them, just to see if they will fit into the 18-liter backpack as well. So most of these things will be going into the main compartment, but then I will try to make a little bit more of an EDC loadout. So just as I would do it most of the times, I would open up the bag fully. So as I already mentioned, this is the main compartment with the big opening, and I would try to fit my first packing cube in there, which has all of my clothes and some accessories right now, to see if it would fit down here at the bottom of the bag. And you can see, okay, the lighting is not the best, but you can see it perfectly actually fits inside there. And in this case, the bag would stand up by itself, which I really do like. So this is the first packing cube, and this is the second one with all of my tech and everything that I need for toiletries, which would fit inside here, my microphone. And as you can see, there is still a little bit of space right there. And if I would zip it up then like halfway, it would be secured at the bottom. So you can see the zipper is half up and things are secured here. And maybe we can even try to put, let's see, my rain jacket. So this is the rain jacket that I'm normally carrying on the front side of my other backpack. We can put it right here to see if it would fit. So with a little bit of pushing and fiddling around, this would actually fit as well. So as you can see now, it is quite full, I would say, because you always need to remember, it looks like there's a little bit of space left, but technically I wouldn't fill it up that much because you have this massive lid that you still need to secure with these buckles. So maybe you shouldn't load it up to the brim and leave a little bit of space at the top. But as you can see, if you load up the main compartment, I would say almost 100%, it definitely now looks a lot better with these things inside. And as I said, it will stand up on its own, which I think is perfectly fine. But now let's see how much space I have left in the tech compartment. As I already mentioned before, I think it's a great thing to have a separate tech compartment, but in my opinion, they should try to make it a little bit more protected, especially at the bottom. And as you know, the only thing that I can show you right now is actually my tablet. So this is the only thing I'm carrying, and I would put it here in the front sleeve. And you can see maybe it is, I guess, decently protected. I can too put it inside here, but that would be way too big for just a tablet. So I can just put it right here. And then you can see, yes, it's okay, I guess. But if you look on the side, you can see there is like a little bit of an, I would say, arch here, and you can definitely feel my tablet. So it is still very well padded on the back, but you can still see that if you load up the main compartment with a lot of things, the tech compartment will be pushed out a little bit to your back. Some people, they might not hurt that, but make it uncomfortable. But in my opinion, it's 100% fine. So this is this for the backpack. Or for the laptop compartment, just stay. I mean, it's a bed, so it's not that easy to make it sit. And the last thing I wanted to try is to have a water bottle, or my water bottle. If it fits, I don't know, maybe we have some fun, but you can see you need to really push it inside there. So if you load up the main compartment fully, it is a little bit harder to get a, I think it's a 750 ml water bottle inside these side pockets. And I guess the second one would be too tight right now, because you actually can see there is not a big opening left here, even with this stretchy material on the side. So yes, it will fit a lot of things, but just be aware that 18 liters is like not a lot of space, especially when you go traveling for a longer time. But for an EDC bag and for a onebag life bag, if you have very, very little things, I guess it's a very, very good thing. And before we end, I wanted to show you how much space is actually in these smaller pockets of the bag. So let's get all these things out and see what can fit in there. And I will use some of my things that you can get a better, I would say, view or thing what is inside. So this is my pair of gloves, and especially in the winter when you're here in Austria, it is very handy to have some gloves on your person. So we can see if they would fit inside here, but I guess it's a little bit too small. As you can see, there is not a lot of space in here, but I think they will definitely fit inside these pockets. So as you can see, these two inside pockets, they're actually quite big, so they will easily fit my gloves. So as I mentioned, there is a very good space to put things that are more valuable or that you want to have inside of your backpack inside here. So here is a lot of space. And when it comes to the pouch at the back, I mean, there is no reason why they shouldn't fit. So when you squish them inside, you can't really see it right now, unfortunately, because of the light, but there is so much more space in here. So I can try to find a thing that actually would fit in there, but I think it will be hard. So this is my packable towel, which is quite big, to be honest. And I think even this would fit inside here, yes, very, very easily. So these pockets are very, very spacious, especially the ones inside of the bag and at the back of the backpack. But maybe we can try something else for the main pockets at the front. So this is my wallet, which I'm carrying right now, and I guess this would fit. So yes, with a little bit of squishing, but you can see if you use these front pockets, this pocket fits almost perfectly inside there with no real space left. So if you want to put something there, it should be small, like a phone, like a wallet or something else, or like some snack bars. So this is perfect for that. As you can see, in my opinion, the Nayo Smart Urban U5 backpack is a very, very good, very functional but still unique backpack that can fit actually a lot of things and much more than I personally thought, with a very well organized outside and inside, even though there are some minor things that I would say they could improve on the next version, like these things here, these dongly things and the false bottom for the tech compartment. I think it's a very good 18-liter EDC bag for almost every situation that you will run in when you use this bag on a daily basis. But now that you know everything about the features and also the sample loadout of the Nayo Smart U5 Urban backpack, here is my single best tip on the most overlooked feature for any backpack for every kind of lifestyle, even if you're not pursuing a one-bag life. And this is a very good padded bottom. And let's take the Nayo Smart Urban U5 backpack as an example for that. The bottom itself, it is quite padded. So especially when you find a backpack, and I know it's hard because it is a bed that can stand up on its own, if it is not even loaded, it has very good structure and most of the times a very good padded bottom part. And this is maybe, in my opinion, one of the most overlooked features, because especially when it comes to a tech compartment, when you have something in your EDC bag that is valuable, like your laptop or a tablet or something big and, as I said, valuable, you will need to have a very good padding at the bottom to secure your things from falling down, because most of the times when you carry an EDC bag, it won't just sit on your back like all the time. Most of the times you put it down, maybe in the library, maybe something else, in a lot of different spaces. And sometimes you just forget that, especially when it comes to your tech items, they need to be protected even when they just drop to the floor. So a very good padded bottom, as I said, is one of the most overlooked features in my opinion. And if you're looking for an EDC bag and you know you have a laptop, you have some kind of tech that needs to be protected, just make sure that you have a very good bottom or even a false bottom in your backpack or in your tech compartment to secure your items the best way when you put them down. So if you think the Nayo Smart Urban U5 backpack could be the right backpack for you with all its features and the good quality or high quality material that they're using, make sure to check the first link in the description, or to type in the code Sven10 at checkout, or to use the code Sven10 at checkout to get 10% off your order of the Urban U5 backpack from Nayo Smart. But if you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe and like, but most important, share a comment with your thoughts about this size, so maybe 15 to 20 liter backpacks and what you would use them for as an EDC backpack. And also don't forget to check about the weekly One Bag Life community post. If you now want to know everything about my less than 100 possessions for my personal One Bag Life, definitely check my last video to find everything about exactly that. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next video.